On the news, United States raises alarm over Nigerian federal government inability to protect Christian communities. The UN World Food Programme says over 1 million Nigerians in the Northeast are to face food crisis due to insecurity. The federal government announces disbursement of 152 billion naira to protesting contractors. In addition, we have the exchange rate and weather report. He will be here in just a moment for the details.
Welcome to the News on Air on Providence Television International. I am Eriki Ogiriaki. The United States has raised serious concerns over Nigerians' ability to protect Christian communities following the abduction of 177 worshippers in Kaduna State. A high-level delegation of U.S. officials arrived in Nigeria on Thursday on a week-long diplomatic tour aimed at reviewing counter-terrorism efforts and the protection of vulnerable groups. The meeting is part of the United States and Nigerian Joint Working Group, with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, Alison Hooker, as co-chairs. The meeting took place amid heightened diplomatic tension after U.S. President Donald Trump redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular concern over religious freedom violations. However, the federal government has repeatedly dismissed claims of systematic Christian persecution, maintaining that the level of insecurity in Nigeria affects citizens of all religious backgrounds. The United Nations World Food Programme on Thursday disclosed that more than 1 million people in northeast Nigeria risk being cut off from emergency food and nutrition assistance within the next few weeks unless urgent new funding is received. The crisis, according to the WFP, is unfolding amid renewed violence in the north, which has devastated rural communities, displaced families, and destroyed food reserves. The World Food Programme is the world's largest humanitarian organization, saving lives in emergencies and using food assistance to build pathways to peace, stability, and prosperity for people recovering from conflicts, disasters, and the impact of climate change. The Chief Judge of Rivers State, Justice Simeon Amadi, has declined to set up a judicial panel to investigate Governor Fubara, citing a court order. The Rivers State House of Assembly has requested that Amadi set up a 7-member panel to probe Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu over allegations of gross misconduct. However, in a letter dated January 20th and addressed to the Speaker of the House, Martins Amiewule, the Chief Judge cited 2 court orders barring him from receiving, forwarding, or considering any requests to form such a panel. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo San, on Friday received the Governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpevolo, who paid him a courtesy visit to advance discussion on the immediate activation of an indigenous airline for Edo State. Governor Okpevolo, who was accompanied by key members of his cabinet, stressed the urgency of establishing a homegrown airline to operate from Benin Airport, describing aviation as a viable means of economic revival, investment inflow, and job creation. He further disclosed that the state government is already exploring several partnership options, including engagement with South African investors who have pledged to provide aircraft for the takeoff of operations. Responding, the Minister Festus Keyamo welcomes the initiative and described it as a timely and visionary. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has begun enforcing Digital, Electronic, Online, and Non-Traditional Consumer Leading Regulation 2025 DEON regulation by removing digital money lending DML or Proteals that failed to regularize their status. The Commission has set January 5, 2026 as a deadline for compliance. Operators that missed the deadline have had their conditionally approved status withdrawn and have been removed from the FCCPC published register of approved digital lenders pending full compliance. FCCPC emphasized that consumers have been advised to exercise caution when dealing with digital lenders that do not appear on the Commission's current list of approved operators. The Commission further stated that a new deadline of April 2026 has been set to complete registration under the DEON regulations. The Commission added that the operators who fail to regularize within its period may face further regulatory measures as provided under the law. The FCCPC reaffirmed its commitment to transparent regulation, fair competition, and the protection of consumers in Nigerian growing digital economy. The federal government has announced the disbursement of 152 billion naira to contractors in a bid to quell lingering protests over outstanding payments. Mfoniso Christopher has details.
In a statement on Thursday, the Minister of State for Finance, Doris Uzoka Anite, disclosed that the payments follow strict verification procedures in line with existing laws and regulations. Uzoka Anita noted that the Federal Ministry of Finance was aware of the financial strain contractors had faced due to payment delays and pledged that the ministry will continue to process all valid payment requests. Local contractors have since 2005 staged protests over what they describe as a growing backlog of unpaid bills for projects executed for the federal government. Operating under the umbrella of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria, the protesters have at different times blocked the gates of the Finance Ministry, National Assembly Complex to press their demands. Mvaniso Christopher, Providence Television News.
The federal government has banned electricity distribution companies and installers from collecting any form of payment for meters, warning that officials and installers found extorting customers will be prosecuted. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, issued a warning on Thursday during an on-site inspection of newly imported smart meters. Adelabu emphasized that the meters were procured under the World Bank-funded Distribution Sector Recovery Program and must be installed for consumers free of charge, stressing that any demand for money will be treated as an offense. The Ekiti State's Amotekun Corps has arrested 16 suspected bandits from Kwara State who were planning to migrate into Ekiti State on Wednesday. The suspects were spotted in large numbers with their cattle around Gede Farm settlement in Isan Ekiti, causing panic and disrupting social activities in the community. During interrogation, the suspects confessed that they fled Kwara State due to the ongoing crackdown on banditry and admitted their involvement in cattle rustling, particularly targeting cattle belonging to Kwara indigents. Residents in Benin Metropolis have expressed mixed feelings in reaction to popular filmmaker and politician Pedro Baseki's disclosure on Sunday that he will be seeking redress in courts against those who assaulted him on the 28th of December 2025 in Benin City. Pedro Baseki stated that his decision to sue was taken after extensive consultation with his wife and children, members of the Obaseki family, and clan, senior legal advisors, and respected elders. He emphasized that the move was not driven by revenge or political motives, but by the need for accountability and the protection of human dignity. The Nigerian Professional Football League, NPFL, has punished the defending champions, Remo Stars, over the fan trouble that trailed the Ikenne-based club Week 20 game against visiting Ikorodu City on January 14th. The NPFL fined the club 7 million naira for breaching of the league's framework and rules. The club will play their game in Ibadan. The NPFL penalized Remo Stars for lacking proper security during the Ikorodu City match, which led to a brawl, injuries, and property damage. The association further disclosed that Remo Stars supporters threw objects onto the speech, resulting in several stoppages during the match, saying that the home supporters displayed barbaric behavior by bringing dangerous objects and weapons into the stadium. The breakdown of the fine shows that Remo Stars will pay 2 million naira for failing to provide adequate and effective security and another 1 million naira for throwing objects towards the field. Super Eagles captain Wilfred Ndidi is inching to go back to the English Premier League just 6 months after leaving. This time, the 26-year-old is eyeing Manchester United. Mfoniso Christopher has details.
Super Eagle captain Wilfred Ndidi is eyeing Manchester as he seeks a return to the Premier League just 6 months after leaving Leicester City. The midfielder joined Turkish giant Besiktas in the summer, bringing an end to his 8-year spell in England. Ndidi is being presented to the Red Devils as a possible option to bolster their midfield for the second half of the campaign. Despite the Nigerian international willingness and readiness to return to England, Manchester United are yet to make any formal offer for his services. Mfoniso Christopher, Providence Television News.
Manchester United have confirmed that midfielder Casemiro will leave the club at the end of his contract this summer. Casemiro played a major role in helping United win the 2023 Carabao Cup, scoring a header in a colossal performance against Newcastle United. The club also announced that supporters will have the opportunity to recognize Casemiro's contribution to the final home game of the season against Nottingham Forest. Stand by now for the weather reports and the exchange rates.
Thank you, Ehi. On the weather forecast for Saturday, 24th January, in Abuja, Lagos, and Benin, it will be sunny with temperatures expected at 35 degrees Celsius, Abuja, in Lagos, 34 degrees Celsius, in Benin, 36 degrees Celsius. In Port Harcourt, it will be partly cloudy with a temperature of 34 degrees Celsius. In Kaduna and Enugu, it will be sunny with temperatures expected at 34 degrees Celsius in Kaduna and 36 degrees Celsius in Enugu. In Sokoto, it will be partly sunny with a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius. In Washington, it will be cloudy with a temperature of -7 degrees Celsius. That's quite cold. In London, there will be light rain with a temperature of 8 degrees Celsius. In Johannesburg, it will be sunny with a temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. And in Rome and Paris, there will be light rain with temperatures expected at 13 degrees Celsius in Rome and 9 degrees Celsius in Paris. To the exchange rates, $1 its equivalent in naira is 1,475. €1, 1,732. 1 British pound, 1,998. The Canadian dollar presently stands at 1,072 naira, and the Australian dollar 1,013 naira. And back to Ehi.
Thank you, Ogbebo Ikekwa, for that report. And that's the news on the hour on Providence Television International. Thanks for staying tuned.